got everything else set up for today. Hello, everyone joining us at home. No loop. I did that last week and caused everyone to lose their minds. So let's get our video producer open, stream manager, and we are set to go. We are live. All right, so it's been a couple weeks. Sorry about that, everybody. So let's start with that real quick. Let's just touch base. My girlfriend had a really cool surgery. I'll keep the details just low-key calm. This will come up a few more times during it. If you're watching on YouTube, I always appreciate the patient viewers on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing, checking out the content. Girlfriend had a surgery. Girlfriend needed me to tend to her after her surgery. She's fine. She's doing great. Everything's good. So, yeah. Sorry, just ate food and I've got Invisalign, so I gotta pop that back in. A professional game developer is a happy game developer. I hope everyone is doing well. So today, Devlog 9, we're gonna do more concepting. So let's kind of talk about everything that I've been thinking about as a game developer. So I'm going to actually snooze our ads real quick so I can just chat about this a bit longer. So the general concept that I have had for the game development is that because I'm an indie dev, I have all these different things I have to do, right? So it's like, there's like music. This is like a really shitty sound note, just bear with me. It's like, I gotta do music and sound effects, so there's like all this different stuff that I gotta do, right? We're doing sound effects, we're doing music, we're doing like the actual like coding mechanics, 0111, all that fun stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, like I'm tickled pink to be doing this stuff. Like I'm having so much fucking fun doing this. But when you have so many different things to do in all these different spheres where it's like you have to be over here and over there and over here, it kind of gets a little frustrating having to jump between all of them all the time. So basically, I want to finish concepting the entire outline of like the 1.0 game. Like if I can concept everything that I want in the game as a fleshed out 1.0 product, then I can kind of move forward from there. Because it's like, once I know, like, let's say like this node down here is like the game. Once I know what I want in the game, it's easy for me to go out and make music or make the art or make the sound effects, or if at least the concept, the blueprint of the building is there, then it's kind of easy for me to just start branching out in all the other different directions of like who I'm gonna hire. I'll have a better idea of how to use the money that you guys have donated to the contributions of this game. It should be known that at this point, courtesy of everyone's donations, I have raised just a little over $200 for the video game, and all of that funding has been going to like the books, the coding. If it needs to, it'll go to aspects of art and music and stuff. But as of right now, kind of just tucking the money until things come up that I can't do. And then I'm kind of having fun just doing it in the meantime, because like, look at these guys. These guys are so cute. I'm having so much fun like learning how to draw and designing stuff and like making it look good. Like, I'm proud to call these like my little kids, like my like people having that like art relationship with their own projects where it's like these are their kids. Like, I love these guys. Look at this tubby little guy. Look at this tinky little guy. How can you not love that face? So that gets us to today. Today we are concepting more skills, more classes. So hope you guys will tag in and give like some suggestions and stuff. It's going to be a very chill stream. I'll be looking over at chat periodically just to make sure that people are like getting heard and acknowledged and everything. Otherwise, we're just going to zip right through this and just kick some ass. So, skills are coming along pretty well. So the idea here with this progression is this is just a very rough overview of all the classes, features, and effects. Oh, Trippy coming in with the Prime subscription. Thank you very much, Trippy. I hope you're doing well. I know that you said it's hard for you to like get on Twitch and stuff as much as you used to. So I just hope, from everything we talked about in DMs, I hope that situation is playing in your favor. That's all. Resuming what we were chatting about. So each of the classes, of course, have like these three skills. They got the quick skill, which is like a skill that you can just keep kind of casting at will, but it has like a mana resource on it. So it's like you spam it too much, you run out of mana. You've got a stocked skill, which has like longer cooldown, and or heavier mana cost. So it's either, now it has a 5 to 15 second cooldown, and maybe if a quick skill only costs like 5% of your mana or 10%, this is costing closer to like 10 to 15%, so you can't use it as much. And then pinnacle skills, they have a higher mana cost and a cooldown cost on them, just to make it that they are kind of like a really cool like trump card or like a really heavy skill. Because again, you can't equip 2 pinnacle skills from different classes. You can't equip 2, you know, you can do 2 quick skills, you can do 2 stock skills, you can do 2 pinnacles, or you can mix it up and do like a quick and a pinnacle, a quick and a stock and a pinnacle. And that's for everybody to figure out what playstyle they want. Do you want like heavier, tankier, you know, glamorous playstyle, or do you just kind of like want like, you know, a bursty, consistent playstyle? So that's up for you guys to figure out. I was doing something where there was like class resistances as one of the levels. I just kind of felt like it was just a redundant thing people were not going to be very excited about, so I ended up removing that feature. So all classes now have this quick skill, this stock skill, this pinnacle skill, and then you also unlock a flat passive at tier 2. And it used to be a scaling passive. I reworked it that just once you unlock it, it's like a Diablo 3 passive where it's like, boom, a really cool feature and quality of life to just make your, you know, your play and your progress like a little bit easier. And then tier 4 is a dash mutator, and that's literally just whenever you use your dash, which is like every class has a singular dash on like a 20 to 30 second cooldown. It just lets you basically move out of the way of incoming damage, gives you some iframes, and gives you a bonus. And so all these dash mutators just like make your dash a little stronger. Looks like we're gonna have some ads coming in here in a second though, so I'm gonna make sure I have this set up correctly on OBS. What button did I set it to? Was it here? What button was it? There we go. So we're gonna take a quick ad break. For those on YouTube, I apologize. This is just the easiest way for me to stay cohesive with the Twitch chat community when they're talking with me, to allow people to not feel like they're missing out just because they didn't subscribe. But it also allows me to have the best open access. What do they call it? It's like when you do pre-roll ads on Twitch, then if a random viewer is trying to like learn about my content and they click on the channel, and then they no longer get hit by that like stupid wall of ads that nobody asked for if I do pre-rolls. So we're gonna do an ad break real quick, and we'll come right back after that. In the meantime, there we go. Got my Twitch chat up. We're gonna wait for this ad break. What was my hotkey for that? While we're on the ad break. Hope you're doing okay if you're watching from YouTube. I appreciate you guys. What was the hotkey for that? I'm gonna check real quick. File, settings, hotkeys, and it was... There's no way I would do that. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, found it. Look. Now, boop, 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 boop. Ad break. Okay, cool. It's good for me to know for just moving forward. There we go. RZ. All right. So what else do we want to work on? All right, got another 2 minutes. See what else I can just check and take care of real quick. Nah, everything's mostly settled in. I'll just look over some stuff real quick. Nothing that's going to take away from the audience, but then at least the YouTube community isn't just getting bored out of there. Cool. That's right, we renamed this. Okay. Was that too long for that line? Okay. We can fix that. Scoot that. Oh, no. Scoot this all over a little bit. And then we can scoot this over a little bit. There we go. And then we can scoot that over. There we go. And everybody's happy. Alright, we almost done with the ad break. Another minute and a half. Ugh. I do not like ad breaks. I understand everybody's got to make their money, but I don't like taking away from my time with my community. And I'll let us get into it in just a second, though. Okay, so we got all that figured out. And I want to open that over here. Okay, so he did that for me. Okay, he did make it to ring, so that's fine. Cool. All right, 30 more seconds, and then we'll jump back into it. Anyone that's on, that's got a subscription though to the channel, that's just hanging out, I hope you guys are having a good week. It's really good to be back. I really like streaming, and I've missed streaming for you guys. I like it when the streams get fun and hectic and everybody's chatting. Always keeps it interesting. Oh, you know what? Yeah, the girlfriend's doing awesome, RZ. She's perfectly fine. Again, don't want to get super into her personal space. She doesn't really mind it too much, but it was just like, she was fine. It was a surgery for like an actual health complication. It wasn't like some goofy cosmetic surgery or some silly shit. So yeah, she's kind of taking it in, doing better. I think we're done with ads, so we can go another hour and change before we get hit by ads again. So, starting again for everybody who's watching, let's get into it. Today, it's skill concepting, it's loot concepting. I actually had a friend of mine who, and I'll pull this over so you guys can see it. So, again, for people who are newer to the concept of my game, you take two classes, like two colors, you merge them, you get one skill from each color. Yeah, she's doing great, Trippy. Like, she's doing so fucking awesome. Everything's been super good with her. So yeah, you take one, so there's 9 colors in the game you can play as. You take one color of each, so it's like white and black or blue and yellow. You get a skill from each of them, and each color has one skill of 3 categories, like a quick skill, a medium cooldown skill, and a longer cooldown skill, and like they all do different things. So then you're able to amp each of those skills with different colors, right? So it's like white skills, you can do these yellow amps. So all these blue dots are one of my, basically my clerical writers, who's just like, they're going through just making sure all the stuff is correct, is consistent, because we've changed things like 15 different times. So this is us today. We're going through and we're reading his notes, making some suggestions. So everything that you can see here on the screen, these are abilities that I'm eventually gonna like code and make graphics for the game, for the enemies, making a cool top-down looter shooter. Diablo 3, Borderlands 2, Remnant 2, kind of fun, just run around, kill shit, get loot. So yeah, so let's start busting into these. So for starters, we got King's Wave, which is just a powerful wave of energy that's cast in front of the user and kills with King's Wave, grant reflect. He says the skill sucks. Awesome, we're off to a great start. Thank you, appreciate you. Okay, so I don't think that this is inherently a bad skill. I don't disagree with him that it could be a bland skill, but I think because you start the game as the white class, so it's like having these very basic abilities I think are really important to teaching the player how to play the game. So but he did come up with a name for him, because I want to eventually name all these as well, so I will make a note of that in a second. I think I'll get a piece of paper ready for that so that we can start doing skill names. What do I got on here? Stream homework? I'll set that to the side. Everything going okay on your side of the water, RZ? I hope so, man. You're always watching out for so many game developers and stuff. My friend's got me, I'm probably going to buy that game Web Fishing here one of these weeks. I'm probably going to do like a chill stream for you guys while I play some Web Fishing. If you guys haven't seen it, you should look that shit up. It is the funniest game that's been released this year. It's such a simple but amazing concept of a game, which lets everyone it reminds everyone like your games don't always have to be big and complicated. They can just be a cool. Just been grinding New World again. Hell yeah. Is New World like? I remember New World came out a while ago, and like people seemed to have liked it. I thought that like it was under some bad press for a while, but am I mistaken with that? I didn't play it, so I wasn't sure. Okay, so he wants to call King's Wave white. Get another document open over here. Where do I want to put that? I could just do another tab on the Mila note. Even better, go here. For an MMORPG, it's subpar. Okay. So it's not going to be like some groundbreaking Final Fantasy 14, but it's not terrible. Got it. Let's do this. Let's just create a document for now and be like, class skill names, right? And then I'll open that up, right? Oh, it doesn't even open a whole separate tab. That might be kind of annoying, but that's okay. Oh, I know what I'll do then. I'll just go like this to open it in a new tab. Go over here, right? And then I'll scroll down. Skills. Now I have literally the same page open, but now over here, I can have the names going. That's perfect. Okay. Got it figured out. There we go. People who say they're going to code MMOs, those people I think are like the just ballsiest people in the world. I'm like, holy cow. Like, I think it'd be cool to make an MMO, but there's just so much, like, back-end stuff you have to worry about. Like, that just seems crazy to me. So it's just like... white. And what'd he say you want to call it? King's Pressure? Okay. Red. Just because at some point... King's... Yeah. Okay. King's Guard. So I've been thinking about, because so like red is the tanky damage mitigation class in the game, and I've been starting to do knockback stuff with it, and I'm not necessarily sure if I like the idea of it having knockback, because if you're playing white is all about range damage, so knockback in my head sounds good, being like, oh, you can knock shit further away from you, but then wouldn't you just want to apply slows, because then you could kite? Because like, I could make ledges you could knock enemies off of, like pits and stuff, kind of like old school Zelda games when like you knock enemies into holes. So then knockback could be good for that, like, you know, killing enemies that way. I don't know. What's he say about King's Wave? King's Conflagration, he likes burn. Okay, so he says that he likes that, so... we can get rid of those markers. King's Wave gets the pass. Orange. King's Conflagration. Like that. Thank you. Okay, what's he say about this? King's Ballista. Cool. Like that he's using a bunch of cool, like, kind of like nobility terms. I'm digging that. All right, and then Green Wave, King's Ailment. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's been cool though, because I've been learning something about streaming lately, is that, as you do streaming, you kind of find like a nice, like, comfortable niche to go into, because like people are going to be there for the personality and the interaction. Sometimes people just want the nice background noise of like whatever you're bringing. So it's kind of nice that I can just like buckle in and just have fun with this. Frost King's Wave. Blue. King's Halt. I like that. And I don't think it's necessarily evil for it to just apply slow. You can keep hitting them to like apply slow faster, really start slowing enemies down. So I don't think that's good. I don't disagree with his comment though. He says that knockback, ranged characters like slows more than knockbacks. So then we need to change this because we have weaken. Because red's bonuses are either we give ourselves bulwark or we're weakening enemies. And since all these others are applying debuffs, I think it makes more sense for it to apply a debuff as well. So King's Wave. Applies weaken. What would make people want to take that over other stuff? Because it's like kills with King's Wave grants reflect. That's pretty huge. King's Wave applies curse. That's pretty solid because now everyone is getting a 10% bonus damage. Again, by the way, if anyone has any questions about like what burn, what curse, what slow, what dispel, what expose, like if you are wanting to engage with it, like there's no such thing as a dumb question. Pop in the chat, ask. I'm happy to like fill people in while I'm doing this. King's Wave returns a small portion of hell. There we go. Ad break shouldn't still be in progress. No, it's like a 3. Oh, thank you. My bad. See, I gotta get the hang of that stuff. Thank you, RZ. I appreciate you. You're like, damn, that's one long ad break. What we doing? Oh God, I'm gonna kill myself. That's so funny. Holy shit. So, okay. King's Wave applies Expose, so that's good for... So... You know what? And then we'll go Indigo. King's Cleanse. Violet will be King's Blade. Kings. What do I want to call the blood one? What would I want to call the black bonus? Also, RZ, thank you again for putting me in touch with Noida. He's been a really cool guy. I've been unintentionally just out of commission for the last 2 weeks, so just wanting to rebuild that momentum with everything. Plan on reaching out to him again soon, though, because still kind of on the fence if I want to do the game on Game Maker. Like, I think it'd be good for me to be more involved in the process and keep the game, like, fun and simple as, like, Game Maker would allow. But with someone like Noida, it's like, if I did go the route of, like, Godot or Unity, it's like, I really could get something else cooking with, like, more assistance. But again, my success for myself is more of making something fun for my friends and I instead of trying to, like, make something marketable. And, like, I do want to make this marketable so I can build a community and stuff of it, make a little bit of money to, like, sustain and, like, build it into something bigger and cooler. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Currency user... oh, wait, no. Wrong category. So, we almost have all these. King's Wave. I wonder if applying Weekend and doing a knockback, I think that that would put it, because this kites, and this makes it so you're not taking as much danger. Right, because it's like if you reduce their damage and you shove them away, you have made them significantly less of a threat in a shorter window of time. Whereas blue is, because there's stacks of slow, it's like you could, hey, there's Tricky. You guys can see him rushing around, little cursor. I think I'll do that. Applies Weekend and a moderate knockback. And again, we'll see how hard it is to do a knockback, but I'm feeling pretty good about that right now. So, okay, so more or less... Hi, Tricky! Can I move you? I can. Perfect. I love that. This is Tricky, by the way. Tricky's in chat. You guys see them a lot. They helped with all this clerical work, all these dots. They went through and checked all the abilities and made like it just literally like 70 different suggestions for me to look through today. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm feeling pretty good about if we weaken and push back versus a kiting slow. There we go. We'll put you right there. No, where will we put you? I think if we put you like right there and then I just keep bringing you down with me, we can work one category at a time, but there we go. I love that, Tricky. Thank you. So what are we thinking? Okay, so I'm thinking King's Wave is okay for right now. I went through and it's like setting all of these up. It feels pretty good. It's a simple, straightforward ability. That's good. So now we're on to King's Reach. So, again, we talked about this already. No. I don't mind you spamming the chat. It'll show that the Twitch chat is interactive, but you chatting like on the monitor, I think is also funny. So like that's fine by me. Okay, so King's Reach grants the user Reflect and beam attacks applied magnified. So as soon as you cast it, it grants you one condition of Reflect, which is a shield to reduce incoming damage, and then all of your ranged attacks are going to apply a debuff. That make it so that your beam attacks take more damage. So it's effectively kind of an oh shit button for like 15 seconds. You cast this shield and you deal more damage effectively. So basically 15-second duration with 30-second cooldown. So on paper, you have 50% uptime with this. Then obviously you start adding trinkets, things that increase your cooldowns and stuff. And as you shrink this, window, you start having a 60%, a 70% uptime of you can have a shield and deal damage. So let's see. Okay, so he misunderstood because this just right here, the base effect, it just grants the user a shield. But then the white bonus is now every kill is going to refresh this shield over the 15 seconds because Reflect has a 5-second duration. So when you cast this, King's Reach lasts for 15 seconds. The shield only lasts for 5 seconds. But for the entire 15 seconds, all your beam attacks are making you deal more damage. So that's good. So then this makes it so that kills during this 15 seconds. So you could theoretically get your shield up the entire time, or, once or 2 other times or 3 other times. You can keep refreshing it. So I'm feeling pretty confident in that. But feel free to make another note on that, Tricky, if you don't like that. So now we got grants user reflect. All beam damage has knockback. No. All beam damage applies weaken. And I like that because now weaken is you're reducing the enemy's damage, but you also have a shield on yourself. So now you've created this larger threshold of like, oh my god, seriously, Sam, how are you? I hope this isn't too terribly late for you. Hope school and everything is going well for you. We're literally going through all 276 abilities tonight, and we're basically pass or failing all of them. Nice! How was work? That sounds awesome. So on orange grants the user reflect and all beam attacks apply burn. So what do you say about this? Knockback bias, but it's whatever, probably better because it's on beam attacks. Okay. So many of these are just adds other stats, and I looked through the rings and they didn't seem fantastically helpful for this skill specifically. For King's Reach, gotcha. It was a 15-hour shift, and I can't think about. Oh, let's go, Sam. We'll have to find a game that we can like sit down and like veg out on sometime. Like no high octane mech warrior, no crazy bullshit, just like a fun, chill game where we can just like sit there and kind of just go zombie and just catch up. I would very much like that. It'd be fun to just like talk and hang out with the community one of these nights. I might host a community night. So everyone keep an eye out for that. Maybe we'll start doing community nights. Like when I need to take a break from the game, I'll go hang out with the community. Okay, so if we can't find a lot of things that make King's Reach more effective with rings, because maybe I was just generalizing and it didn't actually make it better, maybe we'll look into fixing this up a little bit. Because again, you are right, is that I'm just changing the debuff. Because it's like white is magnified, and now red is weakened, orange is burned, yellow is refract. Like, and I don't know how engaging or not engaging that is. Because like, I do want the amps to basically allow you to play, like if you like a skill, but you want it to play to another color variable, I don't want it to completely change the skill. If you want a children that specifically interests with the community, check out a game called Yes, Your Grace. Okay, writing it down. Hold on. Yes, comma, Your Grace. Got you, RZ. And I'll even make a note. Community game. Okay. Okay, so like a separate amp. So the idea that I had gone forward with, and Tricky is encouraging me in a very positive, constructive way to move out of this comfort zone, but because I've never learned to code, in my head, it's like when I'm going to start learning to code, it's like I got to make all these variables for like a variable for burn, a variable for, slow, for regen, for dealing damage, for taking damage, like all those variables and like, configure them. That's how coding works. And so in my brain, it's like if I can make... Oh, King of the Castle. Okay, hold on. Cross through that. King of the Castle. So the whole idea that I have is that simple is better for my game right now because I don't know what I'm going to be capable of. And so it's like, if I can just basically make it that, coding variables are like blocks that I can just pull out. Like if I can pull this block out and put this block in to go, okay, ability A now does A1. Just kidding. Now it does A2. And I'm basically just like, right, to keep it simplistic since I'm newer to like coding, because like when I first started making some of these abilities, I was doing crazy shit where it's like, it turns you into like a monster or a tank. It does all this cool shit. I don't know how hard that is going to be to code, but once I get like a year or two of coding experience, I will probably change my attitude and be like, oh wait, this kind of shit is really easy, or oh wait, this shit is kind of hard, and start, you know, really figuring out what I'm actually capable of. So it's like, I might be capable of way more than what I think I'm doing, and I might be capable of way less than what I think I'm doing. You know, it's like, I have to see how my brain interacts with the concept of coding as a 33-year-old guy who has no experience with it and has to teach himself. Where did you go? Okay, you're still. So, right, and so, but at the same time, like Tricky has said, like, let me find it. I really like it. Where'd it go? You had a comment down here, Tricky. Yeah, like, so he even just said, like, politely, like right here, like, you can do better, because he talks about how if you look at some of my abilities, oh, thanks. That's actually really nice. I keep forgetting that, like, once concepting's done, I get to, like, really format the setup for us to learn how to code together through a GitHub. That's gonna be really fun. So I guess I just want to be careful, you know. I don't want to take on too much and make stuff too crazy. So I guess that's why I keep kind of being like, now it just grants this, now it just grants this, now it just grants this. You know, it's like, because I think that that'll just make it a little bit easier on me or anyone I'm getting involved with, because I still want to stay in control of the project. I don't want to start just like, you know, relying on Tricky to do the things I don't understand because I'm too stupid. Right, exactly, because I don't need it to be Diablo where everything is really confusing. Like, I would love it to just be very straightforward and be like, here are, you know, here's every color has a buff, a debuff. Every class does this. When you amp it, you can anticipate, if you amp it orange, you're gonna get burned. If you're gonna amp it blue, you're gonna get slows, you know? And so it'll be very easy for us, and it'll be easy for the players. And if they don't like it, then I don't scrap the idea, but we modify it, you know? So let me just keep like cruising through these. So grants the user reflect, beam attacks apply magnified. So that's good. Grants the user lifesteal, all beam attacks apply bleed. Okay. I kind of dig that, actually. That's really cool. You know, this could actually be a really dangerous combo right there, just doing King's Wave and King's Reach, where it's just like your attacks are returning a small portion of health. Oh, yeah, because, like, you could use the beam for health, and then, or, like, the skill for health, but then you're... Oh, wow, that's like lifesteal on a skill. That's actually really good. I like that. Okay. So let me triple check these real quick. Sam, remind me what you do for work. I totally forget right now. Kills grant reflect during King's Reach. Grants the user reflect, all beam applies weaken. I like the synergy there. You're getting a shield and you're making them deal less. Oh, damn. 15 hours as a welder? Be careful you don't, like, weld a finger off, dude. Make sure you're drinking enough water, too. Like, you tell me to hydrate? Please hydrate yourself, chat. Like, make sure you're drinking water. Grants the user reflect. All beam attacks apply burn. Grants the user reflect and refract. Grants the user mend. All light attacks apply magnified. I like that, because then mend is a heal over time, so you're replacing the shield with just actual healing. Oh, Sam, that's so sweet. Just let me say, Sam, I want to say this right now. So for everyone that's in chat, like, not calling Sam out, but I'm saying this for anyone who's listening but doesn't have the tab open. So one of my viewers says that they've been working like a motherfucker as a welder, working like 15-hour days so they can buy a house, so that they can meet someone. Only thing I would say to that is I don't diss on that at all. Like, having a house, having your life together to try to attract someone, that is a absolute foolproof strategy. But if things get serious as far as like marriage and stuff, get a prenup. Because a prenup, I don't know the full setup of a prenup, but basically it is, if you guys get married, you get to protect your financial assets, just so that you don't accidentally get married, fall in love, and then she rakes you over the coals and get your heart broken and she steals the house. I would hate for you to waste your livelihood. I didn't mention the generic issue on these ones because they're white skills, not amateur skills, an option. Also true. Thank you, Tricky. I like this. It would be cooler if the wave explodes. The only thing that I'm worried about making the wave explode, Tricky, is that the skill canister... Okay, perfect, Sam. That's all I wanted to check, is that you had a prenup. Let's use twice as many skills within a named variety of combos. The more different the amps can be, the more you can focus on something specific. Variety here is simplicity. Niche options make the game more interesting, because if I'm using reach for the magnified on beams, I don't really need any of these amps at all. As long as you don't remove effects, it's mostly fine. Okay. Yeah, okay, I will keep that in mind. Don't remove, just add on. That's actually good. But like I was saying, is like canister, it's like your next beam attack applies an explosive AoE on hit, dealing moderate damage. And so I feel like if you have a white version of canister, which is just your next beam flies out and blows up at an AoE, dealing damage and applying magnify to multiple targets, I feel like that's really fucking good. Like, and obviously I can make the mana cost higher on that. Like maybe this has like a 20% or 15% mana cost. Maybe King's Wave only has a 5% mana cost, because like that's something that we won't worry about until coding, but damage values will be different for skills. So it's like canister might hit harder and drain more mana, and then maybe white hits a little bit weaker. Okay, I like that, keeping that in mind. So explodes and AoE on contact. Flying burn. I think that's cool. That's honestly, I think that's a good modification to that skill. That feels cool. And then because then King's Wave, like the yellow version, is like the complete opposite, where it's like orange, like soon as it hits one target, it blows up in an AoE. But yellow is that it just keeps going. It just passes through everything and just flies off screen. Like, I really like that. Okay. So King's Wave is good. And we'll like, there we go. And I'm just going to do that to like kind of mark it off in my head mentally. Like, that's done. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, so now we're on King's Reach. Kills grant reflect during King's Reach. Grants user reflect. All beam applies weaken. User reflect. All beam attacks apply burn. Grants the user reflect and refract. So now you're just like shooting through targets. Nice. Ooh. I have to rephrase that. All beam. Oop. Yeah. There we go. Beam attacks apply static. We definitely want the debuffs capitalized. There we go. And Tricky, if I'm missing something while you're going around like enhancing all these, just like pop one up in front of my face and be like, yo, asshole, you're never like that, but okay, all beam attacks apply magnified while grants user okay. It's just that phrasing is very important, because if it just grants the user reflect and ricochet, then that means that it is a skill that has 15-second duration, 30-second cooldown, but for the first 5 seconds it does 2 effects and does nothing for the next 10 seconds. So it's very important that it says grants the user reflect, because that means at the start of King's Reach, it grants a stack of reflect, which is a 5-second bonus that gives you a shield for equal to half of your maximum health. And so like that's what reflect does. So you're gaining 1 use of reflect, but then the other effect of King's Reach is during the 15 seconds of King's Reach, all of your beam attacks are now applying a special bonus. Oh wait, all beam attacks apply static. Ooh, wait, that's actually kind of good. That's really good. Oh, I can do that. I can hydrate. Hey, Wolfus. I know who that is. Hey, thanks for dealing with me the other day when I was in a bad mood at work. Everything's good now. It was just a small misunderstanding. We're good. I got it. I'm hydrating. Thank you. I'll grab another Gatorade in a second, but I appreciate it. I know, you never get mad at me. Wait, do I want attacks to apply slow or... No, oh yeah, attacks have ricochet. For the duration of King's Reach. just to be completely okay. And then we'll go. First of all, I can't spell ricochet. Please ignore that. Holy cow. And I think I want it to have refract, not static. So let's try that again. Have refract. Also tricky. I very much like the idea of piercing attacks for like refract because originally yellow was going to be a sniper class. So if you have something to suggest for yellow that is not refract as a debuff, I'm totally eaters on that. But I just think, or as a buff, because I really like yellow's buff of refract. But I think an argument could also be made that like yellow's debuff is that they take more skill damage and yellow's buff is you increase your skill damage. So you can do this whole like you're charging up and debuffing them for like a giga attack. I think that would be really fun. So we might move away from that. And who knows, maybe we'll move away from slow as well. I do like slow though, both for the player and the enemy. I think slow is a very fun variable. Roots are boring, sleep is boring, stun is boring. Slow can be fun when done correctly. I think even roots can be done okay, but I just don't want to worry about it. Okay, so we got those. Okay, grants user reflect all beam attacks applied to spell. That'll be really good for having a... I might even run that on my heal build, just so that like when stuff is getting too strong, I can just like rip them apart. Grants user reflect beam and barrier attacks applied magnified. Ooh, what's going on? Okay, you're just moving it right there. Okay, cool. Okay, so I think we're good on King's Reach then. Lifesteal, all attacks apply bleed. I think that's fun too. All right. So now we're on to King's Order, which is the pinnacle skill. This is going to have a longer duration, longer cooldown. So immediately upon using King's Order, it resets your dash. Again, for people who don't know, a dash is basically a like 15 to 20 second cooldown that's like a iframe dodge that lets you just get out of harm's way. And so resetting your dash basically allows you to use it and any like cool defensive features that you have on it. Oh, what's up? Oh, nearly every indigo bonus is dispel or haste, and that's kind of all it does. Same with blue and slow / whatever, which is kind of really good as far as dispel is concerned. Gotcha. Do you think that it's inherently broken then? Do you think that that's like too strong? Because again, the goal that I really want to hit with making some of these like other bonuses, like I don't want DPS to be the only option. Like I want people to want to play DPS, but it's like if there are enemies that constantly have Bulwark on, right? Bulwark gives bonus armor. So it's like you're gaining 15% bonus armor and someone has Dispel instead of using Magnified, because Magnified will make them take 15% more damage from beam attacks, which, you know, with mathematics means that you're still technically dealing slightly less damage. You know, you're like, you've reduced the armor's effectiveness by 13.5% or whatever. Whereas Dispel will just make that go away. So now your entire party is gaining this benefit. So it's like, Dispel is good in some places, Magnified might be good in other places. Whoa. Oh, first of all, thank you for the bits. Appreciate that. And Tricky's also saying something. I think Dispel as a whole is very, very strong in any context. I think that's what I was going for, is because I thought about Sleep, I thought about Bind, I thought about Root, and I didn't like any of those. And so I really liked the idea of being able to remove debuffs. Yeah, I didn't know that that's a thing, Tricky. What if effects for some beams applied stacks the longer you use it, unless it's a single shot beam and not a held beam, in which case ignore this message. So beams are ranged weapons in this game. So like there are beams that are like, there's like swift beam, there's heavy beam, there's like, you know, there's different types. And so like heavy beams like fire slower, and it's like you're firing, like all the beams are projectiles, but they all fire at different speeds. So like what you're saying is like some beams applied stacks the longer you use it. Like that could work. It's like every time you hit, it could be like refreshing and applying it. So it's like you could have it where it's like it keeps hitting and it keeps like refreshing a buff or debuff. Okay, blue amps are very weak. Slow and Ricochet. What would be a good buff for a crowd control class to have then? That's the only thing I need to figure out then, because like in my head, I've covered, like, I wouldn't mind adjusting the buffs and debuffs of the classes. Like, I feel like that's been the most fun, is figuring out what sounds fun and what doesn't sound fun. Because I don't disagree that it's like, I don't think Ricochet would be like boring or bad or even hard to code. But it's like, I don't know what I would want to do if it wasn't Ricochet. Because again, in my head, when I first made the game, all the classes were going to be like a soldier with a gun. And so it was like, you know, yellow was going to be a sniper, and their bullets were going to be able to pierce. So it was like a sniper rifle that could pierce. Maybe a pull-in to bring crowds into a singular spot for AoEs. See, I've thought about that because, like, so, Wolf, I like yours. I'm going to go off of Tricky's real quick. So for anyone who's not following Tricky's comment right here, he's talking about in Stolen Realm, there's an effect called Chilled, and it's turn-based, but if anyone gets 5 stacks of Chilled, they become frozen, where they're stunned, and then they turn after they're immune to being frozen again. And I really like that idea. I thought about doing something like that. Is like, what if slow, like... But that doesn't deal with the issue of Ricochet. Like, yes, it would make slow more effective. I already like where slow is, and slow is the debuff. It's just I would want to find a better buff that isn't Ricochet. And I like the synergy of, like, Refract and Ricochet, because now your shots are going through enemies and they're bouncing around the room. So it's like you can, like, keep hitting shit, and, like, I feel like... Because it's like, Red's Weaken could be not as good as I'd like it to be, because I want it to be that you can reduce enemy combatant output. They can also use it on you to reduce your damage. So it's like, Red's Weaken doesn't feel the best. Yellow's, like, Refract. Ooh, what's going on? It just lit up. No. We had it. Where'd it go? Tricky, I lost your note. My bad. Oh. I don't hate that idea either, like a pull-in to bring crowds into a singular spot, like making it like a flux or something. Because that would be a fun, like debuff. Just call it flux and literally have its whole thing be that it pulls shit in. Because, like, you could use that. Oh, hi, Tricky. Thank you. Appreciate you. Because, like, that's a whole other thing, too. What would I want to do? Like... Because I like Dispel. I inherently like Dispel. Yeah, I'm talking about Blue. I'm talking about Blue's buff. Blue's debuff is fine. The buff might need rework. Like, I like the idea of Ricochet. Should wait till you see Blizzard. Okay. I'll check out Blizzard when I get down there in a few. Okay, so King's... Let me just finish going through King's order so we can keep this moving. Reset stash, all damage deflect, dealt inflicts magnified, kills refresh dash. Kills additionally extend the duration of King's order. That's fantastic. So now we have this cool synergy of you're dashing and give yourself shields. There's a set of white armor that I haven't released yet, but it's called the Sniper Mail, and basically it eats your shield to deal bonus damage. So now it's like every time you dash, you're giving yourself a shield. When you fire, you eat the shield to deal damage, killing an enemy to give yourself longer duration on King's order, and kills refresh your dash. So now you have the synergy of you're dashing and shooting shit, and it blows up and dies, and you're getting your dash back to get a shield to eat it, to shoot it, and like that just feels really fun. That would be more of a Violet thing, though. Violet's my melee class. Blue is like my crowd control class. Like, white is range DPS, red is damage mitigation, orange is AoE, yellow is summons, green is heals, blue is crowd control, indigo is like movement speed and cooldown, so it's all about like utility, and then violet's melee and black is lifesteal. And like blue's crowd control identity hasn't been super strong because I feel like it's weird trying to make a buff for that. And I just don't know what to do for a buff. I don't have mana regen in the game. How would people feel about a mana regen buff? Wait, sorry, Tricky. I was jumping everywhere. ADHD. Red amped should do what? Sorry. Shit. Sorry, I was bouncing around. How dare, that's it. Hydrate. Oh, sorry. Ow. Ooh. No, I hydrated. We're good. Okay, so absorb when an element hits you. Oh. Hey, Meso. Or Omes. I fucked it up last time. I'm gonna fuck it up this time. How are you, guy? Good to have you. So that's not a bad idea. Absorb. When an element hits you, you can absorb it and apply a fraction of the damage to your next melee attack. I feel like it's because, again, I want to make sure I'm keeping it like more simple, because like that I could tell would have a lot to code, where it's like code the type of damage that's coming in, you know, and then it has to figure out what type of damage it like absorbed and then sending an output. Like I could be looking at a lot more coding work than a lot of stuff. Game is good. Game, basically, we are doing concepting. I've decided as an indie developer, I'm going to start with concepting, because people keep asking to help with music. People keep asking to help with art, with backgrounds, with story. And it's like, if I don't have the blueprint of the game figured out, then I can't actually do anything else. So tonight we're going through skills. Over tomorrow and Thursday, I'm going to be working with Tricky, who's like going to be helping me with coding and stuff, because he's just a really good friend. I'm going to get the rest of like the armor and the loot and stuff figured out. I'm going to get watermarks figured out so I can start sharing this stuff with you guys on the Discord so you can all check it out. Just because I know I could, if I could put it up on the Discord for you guys to just read and skim through it and then give me direct feedback, I know that that would be one of the best ways for you guys to just tear into this game. And you could set to be standard damage for easier coding. I could do that, because I don't inherently hate that idea. I do like that I have Bulwark as Red's like class thing, because Bulwark is just basically stacking damage resistance across all damage. So it's like you can stack 5 stacks of Bulwark for 25% damage reduction from any damage in the game, like boss attacks, raid damage, you know, a bunch of smaller enemies attacking you. So I really like the idea of how Red works right now, because Bulwark is increase your damage resistance, and then weaken is make the enemy deal less damage, and now you're building this very large window where the enemies can't hurt you. Like, Red feels very synergistic in its terms. I have not tried Deadlock. It looks really good, and I'm worried I'm going to go down a wormhole on it if I play it. But if that's you trying to invite me to play a game, I would play Deadlock with you. It's just blue. I'm not sure if Ricochet is enough to get people excited, you know? I feel like it's cute, it's goofy, but I'm not sure if people like really like it. Well, because the thing is, what I was thinking is like, because blue skills are toggles where they're eating mana, I like the idea of blue's buff being mana regen, and it would actually play into the lore of the blue world a lot. I know, I'm sorry. I'm going all over the place. I have it if you would like to. If you don't want it right now, that's okay. If you want to send me a code, Sam, over DMs, I have no issue with that. No, I don't think... Well, maybe we do need to go to the buff page. Let's go to the buff page. Let's just do that for a minute. Buffs are a little bit easier, because it's like... Because again, we've got Reflect, we've got Bulk, we got Overheat, we got Refract. Because I'm thinking of this in a couple ways, Tricky. If we want to do Refract, like redo Refract and Ricochet, my immediate thoughts are Refract becomes like a cooldown boosting thing, like where it increases your cooldown regen rate. You know, like I don't like, you know, we could call it like recharge or charging or like something like that, you know, something that's like a battery term. Do enemies have their own mana? I think that I'm probably gonna have, like, I don't know. I think I would like to go that route where enemies have mana, but I haven't decided. And I think I know where you're going with that, where it's like, what if there's like something that can like damage enemies' mana? I like that too, because it's like you could just like start punching them in the mana. Because I do like the idea. Oh, hold on. Hey, good to see you. Where's my wave emoji? I need a wave emoji for when he does this. There we go. Hi. There we go. Because I do like... Because, like, what sounds more interesting to a player about a game that is, like, focused on skills and range damage and cooldowns? I feel like a buff that makes you regenerate mana sounds more interesting than bouncing your projectiles off the wall. And again, because that would be another number, I feel like that would be easier to code and manage. Because... Oh, hold on. The music playlist stopped. We are still listening. Let me know if the music's too loud, by the way. Get out of here. There we go. Because, again, I think inherently getting rid of Ricochet... Because the more and more I think about it, I really don't like Ricochet. And I really like the idea of you can heal... Because, like, that opens up a lot of windows where it's like... No, you're good. It's totally fine. You didn't mean to mute. I just don't see, like, because if you have Ricochet, but I also have Refract in the game, that is saying that projectiles do not, you know, they stop when they hit an enemy. And so I feel like, you know, in boss fights where it doesn't really matter, like, I feel like Ricochet is inherently weak. I feel like Refract is also inherently weak because it's like, yeah, there might be some boss fights where, like, maybe there's, like, you know, a boss fight that's a bunch of ads and you can refract and, like, you've got some crazy crowd control, you know, like crazy ad control. But I feel like if I were to change Refract to, like, it helps with your cooldowns and change Ricochet to it gives you more mana over time, Blue has two skills that have a toggle feature where when you activate them, it drains mana slowly over time. So having Blue have a buff that regenerates a lesser amount of mana so that it's like you can use this skill, and when you do a feature, you're proccing this effect, which effectively allows you to use the skill for longer and effectively increase your damage window. So it's not Orange's burn, it's not Blue's, or, you know, White's dealing bonus damage, or Violet's bonus damage, or Green's, you know, curse, which deals 10% bonus damage from all sources. But it is, I have more mana, so I can cast more skills, because the green, blue, indigo end of the spectrum, like yellow, green, blue, and indigo are kind of the casters, and it's like red, orange, like violet, and black are kind of like the like melee, almost like melee, like more like not as skill focused classes, where it's like green is all about your skills, like you're healing, you're casting AoEs, you're cleansing debuffs. Blue is all about crowd control, where you're casting spells to like slow enemies and keep control over them. Indigo is all about like moving, like, you know, moving resources around, making everyone move quickly, you know. It's hard to say. Oh, this has a lot of updates, thank you. Yellow should have mana regen, and then move Pierce to blue. CC class gotta have mana issue. Actually, I don't, because like my thought is like, yes, if the blue class inherently has mana issues because it's very crowd control-y, I think that that's good, because it's like you can do this very good thing, but you can't sustain it. But I think playing it into a part of their playstyle, like when you kill slowed enemies, you gain this effect that slowly regenerates mana, or instead, now blue buffs, like blue amps across the board, can be reduced mana cost, gives you mana on kill, gives you this mana regen effect over time. And so now people are dipping into blue not to slow enemies or get ricochet, but give themselves mana. Because like yellow is already fine where it's at, in my opinion. Like refract could be good where you're shooting through multiple enemies. You know, it is a crowd control thing. You're playing summoner, you have your sentry down, and you're firing from the back line. Refract makes way more sense than ricochet. Okay, sorry. As I was saying, you could have debuff that saps enemies' mana. Also, you could have a buff that lets you recycle mana base to up damage dealt to enemies. For ricochet, you could limit the bounce to like 1 bounce. I thought about that too, like limiting the bounce. I do think, as far as a buff for blue, like when you do this feature, you get this benefit, because if you aren't doing a ranged beam build, because there's 3 forms of damage in the game. There's barrier, which is melee attacks, there's beam, which is ranged attacks, and there's skill damage. Ricochet only applies to beam. So if you are not playing a beam dependent build, like if you're doing like a, you know, yellow blue summon build, you are not really benefiting from Ricochet. If you're playing Violet Blue, which is Violet is the melee class, if you play Violet Blue, you do not benefit from that buff at all into your build, because now you get Ricochet, which doesn't do anything. But mana regen would give more, like, it would give more options. You know, it's like people might want to play a Violet Blue build where they're doing like crowd control melee damage, and then it's like they're using their Violet skills to clear kills on targets that are slowed to regenerate their mana so that they can do more attacks with Violet. Like, I think that has more viability than a lot of other stuff. This should be the one to have mana regen. Do you think, Tricky, let me ask this. Do you think that mana regen as a buff is a good idea, though? Because I understand that you're saying you want it on yellow, but I also know that you also don't have a skill damage buff yet. I'm thinking, hold on. Maybe you can make Ricochet scale up the amount of blue you build into. I don't know. I just, like, as I think more about blue, because again, when I first made this game, I had been in good touch with a couple other friends. I made some poor social choices in that relationship, and it was my fault that the friendship deteriorated. Like, I got too excited about the game. One of the friends pulled out. I thought it was like a husband of the friend, like making them pull out of the game, and it wasn't. It was just like, it was them feeling overwhelmed and them not knowing how to talk to me, and I totally handled it really poorly. I was a very shitty friend. They were going to do the art, and originally it was going to be like all the different colors were going to be different colors of soldiers. And so it was going to be blue was SMGs. So the whole idea was that it was Ricochet SMGs, and that yellow was sniper rifles, and that you could fuse the two of them so you could have an SMG that you were like spraying and praying into a room to pierce and ricochet, and yellow could have like bouncing ricocheting sniper rounds that like would go through 4 enemies and like headshot 4 enemies and be really fucking cool. So, that being said, I had a friend who was going to do the art, but then I stepped it down from really cool, like, soldiers and, like, you know, 64 by 64 to my awesome little 16-bit, you know, these boys. And I still have to learn how to animate them. Like, this guy, I've got this guy's animations on lockdown, but I want to make all these other armors eventually usable by the player. And so it's like, I have to figure out animation frames for, like, dude, Halo Reach Sniper. For real, bestie, for real. You're like, oh, you coming at me? You fucking aim the sniper at the ground and it like ricochets off 2 walls and kills a couple guys. I admit, like, I can never do that, but I got so pissed every time I ran at a dude, they just aimed it at the ground and fucking clocked me in the head. I miss Halo Reach, dude. Halo 3 was bad about that too. Holy hell. That's such a fucking good callback. Thank you, I appreciate you. Oh, mess. That was amazing. Okay, what's he else got to say? Yeah, so Tricky also has summoner bias really bad, so, like, I'm just being really careful. Like, I won't lie. Something that's coming to mind. So if we get rid of Refract, we could do a yellow skill that is, like, when you kill an enemy that has static. Oh, thank you. Whoa, let's go. Thank you so much for the $5 donation, dude. I don't have the sound effects set up correctly for the Ko-Fi stuff or the coffee stuff. I really appreciate that though. That right now the money's primary goal is it's going to go to either a musician, or if I find some really nice tools that help me what I want to do for music and art, it's basically for either tools or commissioning artists. So thank you very much for the donation. Trippy want me to hydrate, so I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back, guys. But I'm gonna leave Tricky's little notepad open so you guys can see what he's saying. So Tricky, take it away. I'll be right back. Water time. Okay. We're down now possibly reworking some buffs. I'm gonna bug you after stream about it. Water time, water time. Hell yeah. No, Tricky, don't do that. Don't cause problems on purpose. Okay, so as far as mana regen being a good buff, I think yes, because it's not good enough If it's not good enough, it's worthless. If it's too good, you need it. And if mana is a specialty issue, it's always needed. But if it's not that big of an issue, it's worth nothing. And again, that comes down to numbers. But in my mind, making everything have application, I think, is really important, because it's like overheat. It's like, so for right now, it says increases light attack speed. I can just literally go like this, increases attack speed by 3% per stack. So now that's for barrier and beam attacks. That now has application to any play style. It's like bulwark increases your total armor per stack. You know, so again, if you want to do a tanky build, like if you play red and violet, now you have a tanky melee. If you do red and orange, you know, now you have a tankier character that's hitting a little bit faster. And you will start figuring out that playstyle with those skills and abilities to see like what works well there. You know, it's like green is mend, indigo is haste. Now you're moving quickly and able to heal yourself, which means you have a lot of kiting potential, possibly. You know, blue being like a mana heal and having, you know, life steal. Like if you play black blue, now you're literally playing a game, because black's first skill is that you consume a small chunk of health to give yourself mana back. So now I can literally just make it that like when you normally use it, it will eat, you know, like 5% or 10% of your health and grant you just a flat amount of mana back. But maybe if you amp it blue, it eats the same amount of health and then just gives you the mana buff. And so now you're just like constantly, like, you know, you are more slowly rotating that skill. What if you did a class that was a damage-based tank for the mana regen path, like a lifesteal tank based on your lifesteal is tied to the use of your mana? Oh, dude. Wait, that's kind of sick. Oh shit, we got an ad break coming in, guys. I'm gonna keep the stream going, like, long as we're having a good chat and stuff. I don't mind having the stream go, because it would normally end in half an hour. We can go for another hour, hour and a half. I'm having fun with this, because I do think that we should swap to mana regen for blue. But again, I want to hear everyone, because, hold on, I want to see what, okay. Sam, we'll touch base on this after the ad break, so we'll do this, we'll do ads. And then we'll also do that and post the Discord. So anyone who's watching on YouTube or at Twitch, check out the Discord, join that while we're waiting for this ad break to finish. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. So you guys just get up, stretch, drink some water. We'll be back after this ad break. Bye guys, be right back. Or every other blue benefit that gives you ricochet for your bullets. And after those, they don't get 2 bullets. Love you. Okay, guys. Are we still? No. Okay, sorry about that, guys. We're back. Okay. Got water. You guys are back. Okay. There we go. Welcome back, everybody. Are we off ads? We should be. I talked to girlfriend. I'm not sure if you guys could hear me. I was kind of shouting. What did Tricky say? Haha, I'm subbed. That's so rude. So, going back to what we were saying, girlfriend agrees with mana regen as the blue buff. I also suggested that for yellow. Wait, what happened here? Oh, whoops, accidentally. My bad. That one just like wiped out a title name. Get down there. Get down there. Get out of here. There we go. There we go. Are you doing stuff over here that I'm ignoring? This is girlfriend bias. No, absolutely not. I do think that mana regen. What would we call it? Like, because I really don't think it's a bad idea. Because again, blue skills are toggles. They're the mana heaviest costing. So it's like you have to learn how to rotate your blue skills because it's like I've been highly efficient. No, it's just in my head it makes sense because it's like red has a synergy within itself. Something along the lines of the lifesteal you gain is based off your maximum mana. But each time you lifesteal and make a percentage lifesteal damage out like 20%, but it also hits 5% of mana each time you use it, so mana regen becomes important. Ooh, refresh is good. Because ice and relaxing. Mend, I like that. Yeah, we'll call it refresh. Till something else comes up. Either mana regen or reducing cooldowns. Yeah. Well, and so that's what I'm thinking I want yellow to be. I think I want yellow to be reducing cooldowns. Because, like, I still like, it almost makes sense to put, cooldowns on Indigo. But then I don't know where I put haste. Because I really like Shadow, where it's like it nullifies the next instance of damage. So refresh is stack allowance once. And yeah, 5 seconds is fine. Okay, regenerate mana. Yeah, there we go. I like that. So that's good. We got refresh, haste, mend. I honestly think we could do away with refract, and we could make that cooldowns. Do we start doing that then? Because I kind of like that, because then it's like now they all have idea. Increased mana regen, yeah. Increased mana regen. Thank you, Tricky. Appreciate you keeping me honest. Because, like, if I do it like this, it's like, well, and that's kind of what I want to go for, is that it's like, you know, it's like white becomes, here's your class that gives you a shield and bonus range damage. Because in my mind, it's like when you're playing a range class, you want to stay far away and deal damage from a distance, but if someone gets close, having a shield to protect you, so you kind of have this, like, if you get into a tight spot, you put up a shield, you move away, and you keep shooting, right? So white feels good in, like, a kiting potential as its base. You know, it has good, it's like good coverage, good damage, it can protect itself, it can get out of tight spots by refreshing your dash, and by dashing as the white class, you gain your shield back. Because dashing as any of the classes gives their buff to them. So now when you dash as blue, you're going to give yourself a small burst of mana back. And that's also really valuable, because if you're playing white and blue, when you dash, you're going to give yourself a shield and regenerate mana. If you're playing red and blue, you're going to dash, you're going to get full stacks of bulwark and regenerate mana. You know, it's like making all of these really viable, because it's like red is weaken and bulwark, so you're increasing your armor and reducing the you know, combatant's damage output, creating a window where you are tanky and you're not taking as much damage. Orange's thing is overheat and burn. So overheat is just like increasing your attack speed, increasing your damage output. Call it spare battery or something. I know, I'm thinking we got to figure out what I'm gonna call it if we do make it cooldowns. Yeah, because, like, I just feel like Refract doesn't fit. Like, after all this talking, it's like, static is really good, because it's you apply static, it's just your next individual instance of skill damage is increased by 15%. So it's basically a setup skill. You, like, drop something on the enemy, so it's like, they have that mark on them, like, oh, something's gonna hit me. I think I said it before, but what about having partial mana refund for hitting enemies on blue? That way on blue you can reward the... Oh! 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 Oh, Wolfus, that's so... I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. Wolfus, that's really good. That's fucking phenomenal. Ooh. And there it is. Increased cooldown reductions. There we go. I know I should have. I'm sorry, Wolf. No, like, Wolf, you don't understand. Like, I've had so much stuff that's like, you deal bonus barrier damage when an enemy is slowed. But now I have so much viability to be like, all of my blue skills have functionality that's like, it's gonna slow, and like, you deal more damage to targets that are slowed, or apply buffs to them when they're slowed. And now it's like, when you kill things or damage things in a certain way that are slowed, you refund yourself mana, which allows you to continue the crowd control type build where you're like, I'm just, because now, oh, that's so good. I love that so much. Okay, so we got grants a shield from white, increases your armor for red, increases your attack speed for orange. Oh, hold on, this is going down the... Yeah, you're pretty great, Tricky, thank you. Orange is like increases fire rate and melee damage. Overclock increases cooldown reductions. Mend continuously heal. Refreshes increased mana regen. Haste increases movement speed, and it stacks. And then Shadow nullifies the next instance of damage. Damn, I almost want to do away with Shadow now, because it's there's just so much cool stuff I could do. I'm getting excited. Thank you. Could be easily a ring effect. It could be a ring effect. I had a blue ability. A Shadow is you nullifying the next instance of damage, but I have a really cool skill that class has. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the chat. There we go. What about instead of doing away with it, you can block crowd control abilities with it? Wait, Sam, can you further elaborate on that? Wait, so, Folin, I might be wrong. Is this your... This isn't your first time in here. I'm being dumb. I'm having a hard time, like, placing your username. So I apologize for that. That's bad streamer etiquette. I just don't like pretending to be like, hey, we go back so far. Who are you? It's rude as shit. I don't like being like that. But yeah, so basically Shadow's buff for Wolf. Shadow just makes it so that you basically just, it's a buff that sits on you and it nullifies the next instance of damage. So if something would hit you. It isn't apparently. I also, waiting? Yeah. Hit what, Wolf? If you were to get stunned or hit with something else that would say immobilize or debuff your character in a detrimental way, you could have an active that you can nullify one debuff or stun type of thing. Oh, I got you. I'll hydrate. No, we don't need to remove Shadow. I'm getting ahead of myself because I think there was a thing in my head that was like, if we did something with Indigo, movement could move off of Indigo to Violet, but... Oh, dude, the Minecraft server? That was so much fun. Yeah, so I'm building my own video game now. So, actually, real quick, if this is okay, if you want to stick around and check out the game development, I stream every Tuesday and Friday around this time. So I'd love to have you in there to give me some feedback on the video game. I miss that Minecraft server, though. There was like pictures and shit. I could dig those up. It was so much fun. I don't hate the idea, Sam. I might look into something like that. Maybe I'll make a ring or a trinket or something that like applies a buff later on. Cause okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about the buffs now, because now all the buffs, because like yellow before didn't feel super good. But now I can have it like King's Wave, for example, the first skill that we were doing, instead of it being like, it passes through multiple targets, now it can be like, when it kills an enemy, you get a refund, you know? And the blue version could be like, when you kill an enemy, you get refresh, you know? So now people are like, you know, if you run out of mana, you can run in, do a couple of melee attacks, get the enemy low, and then you can pop the blue King's Wave to get your mana regen. So it's actually here. Let me show off some of the art since you popped in. So this is your main character right here. Oh, hold on. Let me draw this. So basically the idea is that it's like Diablo 3 meets Remnant 2 meets Borderlands 2. And the whole idea is that you start as this guy in the middle and you're called a Luminite. You work for the Court of White. And these other 8 worlds of color have fallen like under danger. And as you travel to each world, you find a different item that lets you basically play as each of the colors, but you get to play as 2 of them at any given time. So you get to have like one skill from your first color, another skill from your second color. That's kind of what we're working on tonight, is all of this is the buffs and debuffs for each of the colored classes. So it's like white's buff is magnified, so when you hit something with magnified, it takes 15% more damage from ranged attacks. Like orange's buff, or orange's debuff is burn. So now you apply a burn that deals damage over time. Indigo is probably my favorite. It's Dispel, and you just remove all non-permanent buffs. So it's like if an enemy is like putting a buff on its teammates to like give them more health or more armor, you can be like, stop it, get some help, and you can just slap the shit out of them and be like, I'm not doing that. For Shadow, you could have projectile pass through you and turn the projectile into your own, having it hit anything that hits after it passes through you. That might also be a little finicky to code. I don't hate the idea. Pop it. Thank you, Tricky. I love that. I looked over right as you typed that. I'm feeling, I think as far as buffs and debuffs go, I think that fixing yellow and blue made me very happy. And at some point soon, Folan, a lot of this is going to be in the Discord as well. I'm going to watermark it and let people just tear into it and give me feedback. But do all these buffs make sense in my head now? Next individual skill instance of skill damage is increased by 15%. That's great because you can use that for team play. Curse makes it so everyone can deal more damage to a target. I am going to up the slow stacks. I think going up to 5 slow stacks for 25% is good. And I'll let it last a little. No, 10 is fine. 10 is fine. Dispel is good. Exposed, all barrier damages take... Okay, yep. Deals light damage over time. Bleed... okay, bleed significantly reduces healing received. Okay, so that's all... I feel like we're good on debuffs. And I think I'm going to do away with that. No, we're not going to let burn... We're not going to let burn stack. But... we'll have it be light damage over a long period of time. It's meant to act like a melee rogue, and I don't know what kind of stuff you could abuse. Feel free to come up with something. Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's... I cannot stress enough that, like, once... Like, the reason I'm trying to get this part done right now is I want to put this in the Discord for you guys to look at with watermarks on it, so that you guys can start, like, building pseudo builds. And then you guys can tell me, like, hey, this combo with this... Because there's armor set bonuses, and I haven't finished all those yet. I only have, like, 6 of, like, the, 21 armor sets that I want. Just because I want every class to have 2 and white to have 3 and for black to have 3, maybe? Do you have an ability that allows you to stop a target from being healed in the future? Technically, Bleed cuts their healing in half. You can use that on bosses to stop their regen. You can use it on, like, elites, and each world borrows colors from its adjacent world. So like yellow would borrow green and blue would borrow green. So those worlds will all have healing in them. Like yellow, blue, or yellow, green, and blue will all have healing enemies in them. So bleed would be like especially effective in those zones. Cool down 5 seconds could be abused really easy with a hit and run strategy. It seems really good. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Right, and see, here we go. This is what I was excited for. Also, while we're all chatting, because everyone's getting really into this, I love this. Poland, how have you been? It's so good to have you back in my chat. Like, it's hard to always place those individual memories, but it's like, it's really cool every time I resume streaming, no matter how long of a break I take, like, my community always comes flying back to me, and it's just always such a cool feeling just having, like, an active chat again. Because I know there's some people out there that stream for hours and don't get any viewers, and then I'm just like here and like people pop in and are like, hey, and I'm like, cool. How have we been? So do we like allowances, base durations? I like that because that means that you can keep it going through a combat, maybe into another combat. Wait, what? Mr. Streamer, you have no fucking timers on the effects that apply shadow to your character, you maniac. Wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What? What? Jesus. This is fun. I could get used to this while I'm streaming, Tricky. This is very funny. Okay, so overheat. What is Eclipse's cooldown and mana cost? Oh, I see. Well, I'm not sure yet. I gotta make sure that we're all locked in here first. Damage, Dell's converted to health. Nullifies next instance, increases movement speed. Okay, hold on. If there's an awesome conversation happening in chat, I will go look at this real quick. So I know where Eclipse is. Okay, so cooldown's duration. So realistically, duration's gonna be like 20 seconds. Cooldown, because what? It's a tier 3 skill, so it will have what, like a 30-second cooldown? Wolf, I love that. Next time I see you at work, I'm gonna be like, I'm drinking. Doesn't make it, like, I'm gonna keep my water bottle with me. When I see you, I'm just gonna start pouring it on the, like, drinking it so hard it pours onto the floor. So funny. I'm gonna grab a Gatorade in a second. Good. Okay. So I don't know. That feels like, I like 20-second duration. I think I'm gonna kind of do the same thing as King's Reach though, where it's like 15-second uptime, 30-second downtime. So there's a 50% uptime on it, but then you can use cooldowns to kind of dial it into like a 60-65% uptime. Feel free to tell me if that's horribly broken. I'm gonna go back up here and start working my way down, because now that we have this, it's like for example, I can be like this. Now that we've reworked that buff, I can be like, kills with King's Wave, grant overclock. There we go. How much would CDR reduce that? So I don't know about the numeric values yet. I'm not opposed to talking to them about that. That's not necessarily the goal right now. Right now, I want all the abilities and the amps and the buffs to kind of be locked in where they're supposed to be, so that that all feels really good, being like, I don't want anyone to be, if anyone picks up any piece of loot, any weapon, any skill, if they try anything, I don't want people to go, wow, this has ricochet on this. This is fucking worthless. I don't like this. I'm a melee build. By making it that it's like, it has mana regen, now everything has player agency. And that's been like a really big thing with me this week, because I've even been talking to my friends about D&D, that like player agency is important. Like, you need to make sure that it is designed in a way that your players are not going to feel disrespected by being like, wow, I spent resources and time on this, and this is all I have to show for it, because that sucks. Damn. Thank you, Tricky. That's good coverage. Okay, so kills with King's Wave grant overclock. I like that. Just because being able to constantly cast King's Wave and have it apply static, where it's just dealing 15% more damage. As soon as you throw out the first King's Wave, now all of your King's Waves are dealing 15% more damage. That feels very goofy. I don't like that. King's Wave applying Curse. It's 10% and it's a bonus source. I literally just complained about 15%. But I don't know. That's like team synergy, and I like green granting team synergy. No, Sam, don't apologize. You're asking the legitimate questions of being like, hey, we need number values. I don't know number values yet. Number values will be when we go into coding and I figure out the variables for the codes. We will start figuring out what feels good and what doesn't. Like, we will literally spend weeks just tweaking numbers. It's not a whole ton of CDR, though, but I like the conversion. The biggest issue is it'll also block damage coming from dots like burn and bleed. Yeah. No, I agree with Tricky Sam. You're not making our lives harder at all. Like, you're asking intelligent questions so that we can make a better game for all of us. Fun fact, this game is going to be for all of us to play together, including me. I hope it's really fun so we can all be best friends and high five. Hey, I Dragon and Ricochet ID has an ability for melee. What if you had an on ability where you could hit something, then fly a nearby enemy to hit them too? I call it Wacky Slap. Absolutely not. That's way too much to code. That's a really fucking cool idea, but I'm just gonna say it's not a big old loud no. That would be a hard counter to this, would it not? Like a dot would clean the shield out? I think yes. I think that that's something that you have to pay attention to, is that if you use Shroud, like if you use Shadow, but then you get hit by a burn from an AoE or something, it eats your Shadow. Because here's the thing, if Shadow was good in all situations, everyone would play Violet, right? But if Shadow is the next instance of damage gets blocked and you're fighting a boss and he does a wind-up attack that hits you for like 75% of your health or can wipe out your party members, and you're playing Violet Green, you use Shadow to block an attack and then pop a revive and save the raid, that's huge. But if you're in a room with a bunch of enemies that are doing exploding AoEs and you're not paying attention and one of them clips your Shadow and then you get hit by another one and burn and die, yeah, that's part of the game. Yeah, like everything should have counters, right? Because these are for the player and for the enemy. Bosses will be able to use Shadow against the players. Like, the bosses will be able to use Dispel against the players. Bosses will have mana regen, you know? So it's like, all of this is going to work both ways. So to that extent, I will probably start including enemy mana when I make enemies. We'll see how much that drags on the system. Like, I don't think it will. Like, I feel like a health bar doesn't drag hard on a system when you have like 8 enemies in a room with health bars, so giving them all a mana bar so they can only cast so many of their spells makes sense to me. And then it'd be fun, because like we might get some enemies that when you walk into the room, they front load all their skills and run out of mana, and you might have other enemies that are more conservative with their mana. Or I might even be like, when they run out of mana, their AI changes. Like, maybe I'll make an enemy that when it runs out of mana and it has a shit ton of health and a small mana pool, that when it runs out of mana doing a couple of annoying abilities, it like runs at you and explodes and you're like, oh my god, you know? And so like you might have a friend that's like, hey, I know this really cool ability that deals, you know, mana damage, and I'm just gonna do that to make this guy blow himself up. Yes, we're back to skills now. Yes, we are back here. Hell yeah. Is if you do the pass-through idea of having a boss dash at you, yeah, well, well, so the thing is, like, Shadow, I want to clarify, Shadow does not make it that stuff passes through you. It's that Shadow is effectively kind of like, it's like, so Reflect guarantees that you will block multiple instances of damage. So, oh, hold on, the music stopped and we were having fun with the music. Come back. There we go. So it's like shield, even though it only lasts 5 seconds, it can take the full amount. So if your max health is 100 and it's, you know, Reflect is 50% of your max health, so the shield will deflect 50 points of damage in 5 seconds, even if it comes from 30 different sources. Burn, lots of little hits. Shadow will block 1 shot. But if it's a boss's windup and you have, you know, static on you and curse where it would deal 25% more damage, and it's trying to hit you for an attack that deals like 150 damage, so now you're about to get hit for like, you know, fucking 200 points of damage. Nope, you're good. Shadow just saves your ass. No big deal. And so it's like everything has a place where it plays. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but stuff doesn't pass through you. If something would hit you, it just takes the buff away and you don't take damage. So it's a thin, indestructible shield. And not a ton of things give you Shadow, exactly. And I want to make some rings and stuff that give you Shadow, because I think we have some loot that gives Shadow, so yeah, let me fix these real quick. Kills with King's Wave grant overclock. King's Wave applies slow. I like it applying slow. We're going to keep that. It would be hilarious. Like you turn on Shadow and you're like, I don't have to worry about the raid boss, and he flies through you and punches your friend in the face and they die. It's like, you have to worry. Okay, King's Wave applies Dispel. That's pretty strong too, honestly. I might change it to that kills with King's Wave grant haste. Oh! Ricky, no. Don't tell him. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna burst through these real quick, particularly yellow and blue. Grants the user reflect. I don't think I want beam attack supply. Well, I'll be like static. That could be funny. If you use a similar mana pool to the players, you could write 3 AI programs based on their mana amounts, near full, half, and empty. That's what I was thinking, is like, if it's full, you know, higher values for the higher skills. When it's at medium, start being more conservative. When you're empty, you know, you resort to these other... Oh shit, I gotta grab a Gatorade. Wolf has demanded that I drink Gatorade. Well, he just wants me to hydrate. I'm grabbing a Gatorade. But that's a really good point, is that would be really easy to just write, like, that's a state machine, right? Instead of doing a state machine for patrols, we're doing a state machine for mana amount. You could even do that for health and have state machines for health. So that's gonna be really good. I'm writing that down. Thank you. Mana states / enemy AI. That is huge. Also, for those of you who don't know, at the start of every stream, part of my setup, 15 minutes before I start, I have a folder of everything we've worked on all week, or like, you know, like anything that's not typed down, I write stuff here before I type it up. So like the armor set bonuses and stuff are hidden in this fun little folder. Counter colors. Ooh. Would you mind elaborating on that? Because I think I know what you're saying, but I want to make sure we're on the same page before I just make like a bold assumption or an incorrect assumption. Are we talking Pokemon like red beats blue, blue beats yellow? Like, because in a perfect world where I am an absolute mathematic genius and I know everything, I love the idea. If OMS's idea is what Tricky said, if the NPC has a color set that counters the player. So I've thought about something like that. Like, if I'm understanding, if Tricky said it correctly, where it's like Pokemon typings, where it's like red does bonus damage to blue, or blue takes less damage from red. Like, I have thought about doing a system like that, but I don't know how hard that would be. Like, on top of all the other numbers and stuff I'm doing, I think it's a good idea to not do that at this time. But maybe down the road, I'll do like a number overhaul system for the game if the game does or doesn't do well and everyone thinks it's a cool idea. Because it would be cool to have like, you know, when you fight a blue raid boss, everyone's like, fuck, I can't take Indigo in there because Indigo does like 70% damage to blue. You know, or like, you know, certain bosses where it's like, it's a green boss and maybe Indigo deals less damage to green, but you want Dispel because the green boss is going to keep casting all these heals, and so there's phases where you really want to have an Indigo user in your party to be like, no, Dispel all the mens, he's trying to heal his entire team. You know, it's like, it would be another degree of people having to use their brains, or people just brute forcing it and being like, I'm not putting on orange, I hate orange, I'm just going to keep pushing forward and hit W on my keyboard until I win. You know, like, I think that could be really funny too, so... Well, right, and that's it too, is like, I would hate, like, Indigo, like some roles are straight, like, White and Violet are the highest DPS roles in the game. Like, straight up, you play them, you have some of the highest DPS, because White is strictly all about boosting your range damage, and Violet is all about melee damage and making it that you can't be hit by other melees. That's why Shadow exists on the melee class. So it's like, there is... And then, like, green is a healer, you know, so it's like, if I make green start dealing less damage, it already does not have a high DPS output, so it's like, I would either have to make it that green deals bonus damage to everything, and green takes less damage, but I don't think I want to go that route, just because it's such a cool idea, though, like, I would just have to be really careful if I did it. So, it is definitely something on the list, like,